We are going to make it a practice up until the end of this seminar that every speaker will have the privilege of singing a birthday song for the birthday girl today. Well, anyway, thank you very much, Dr. Krishnan. A small little memento for you. May I please call upon Suhas Kulkarni to introduce the next speaker, Amitabh Lara.
Good afternoon once again. It's my privilege to introduce the next speaker, Mr. Amitabh Lara from Anand Rathi and Associate. Amitabh Lara works in the capacity of a director at Anand Rathi Wealth Services Limited. Being part of the organization since 2012, Amitabh has been instrumental in the transition of the company's approach to wealth management. In the last few years, Amitabh has been focusing on the business development aspect of the company by managing his own wealth clients. Currently, Amitabh manages assets worth over 250 crores across 25 client bases in Mumbai, Delhi and Pune. He is also mentoring 7 of his colleagues on their journey to become private bankers. Amitabh is a chartered accountant by qualification and has worked with brands like Kotak, Citi, Enam. With 26 years of experience, Amitabh has been witness to the dynamic market cycles of the Indian financial market. His in-depth understanding of the markets has given many of his clients a confidence to make him their sole advisor. Having been in the financial services industry for over 2 decades, Amitabh has witnessed multiple market cycles across various asset classes. In short, he has seen it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. In all his years of client servicing, Amitabh has learned that fearless advisory is the foundation of building a strong relationship with the clients. Dear friends, I present to you Mr. Amitabh Lara.
Thank you so much for having me here, and just thought I'll share this with you. My father was an extremely passionate Rotary member. He was president of the Rotary Club in Kano, Nigeria, West Africa. He was the Rotary president of the Rotary Club of Hyderabad in Hyderabad. I am from Hyderabad. More than 30 years. I know for a fact that he was a Paul Harris member. I know for that a fact that he's bought the Paul Harris membership for each and every member of our family. So this is something, Rotary is very, very close to my heart, especially to my dad. So what I hope to do today in the next 10-15 minutes is talk about a framework. How should you be investing your wealth, your hard-earned wealth? I'm not going to talk about markets. I'm not here to talk about products to sell. If I had a certain amount of money, what is the right approach? What is the framework? What is the process I have to follow to be able to manage my wealth? Broadly, there are two ways that wealth management has been done in India. And as my introduction mentioned, I've been in the wealth management industry for more than 23 years. I mean, I passed out in 1993. From 97, I've done nothing but wealth management, right? One of the things I have noticed, or we have noticed, is that there are 2 broad approaches to wealth management. One is wealth management based on a view, right? You go and meet a client and you tell him, sir, equity is looking good, or fixed income is looking good, or real estate is looking good. Effectively, what the client is buying is your view, without a goal of the client being put in place. सर ये म्यूचुअल फंड अच्छा लग रहा है, ये PMS अच्छा लग रहा है, right? So you're selling a view, you're not selling a goal. Over a period of time, what you will notice in most such client relationships, the client's portfolio over a period of 3-5 years is, for a lack of a better word, a khichdi of various products, which is part of the portfolio, without having a reason of what is the role each and every of those products play in the client's life. So if you've not set up the goal, how do you know what role that product is playing? So that is view based, and views change very quickly. Case in point, Mr. Modi came back on the 24th of May, market was 40,200. If someone would have told me in a span of 2 months, we'll be down 9%. I wouldn't have believed it. That's exactly what happened. So if you created a portfolio based on a view, and views change overnight, then what are you going to do? So you cannot have a portfolio constructed based on a view. It has to be on a goal. Goal which you need to aspire for yourself and for your family. Right? So with all due respect, till about 6 years back in Anand Rathi, हम लोग भी यही करते थे. Sir, ये अच्छा product है. Right? You'll have a product of the month, you'll have a product of the quarter, blah blah blah. We realize this approach does not work. Period. Right? Unless you don't set up a goal for the client and then put a process in place. So the way we think about how we should be managing wealth is how all of you who are entrepreneurs should be managing your businesses. I'm going to put out a 4-step process. 4-step process which I think you can run a 200 crore company, a 2,000 crore company. Have an objective. So if you're a 200 crore company and you want to get to 500 crores over the next 5 years, you've set out a vision, a goal of what you want to do. It's an objective. Second, have a well thought out plan to get to that. Step 2. Step 3, implement. And step 4, monitor. Right? If you put out a goal that 200 has to become 500 over X number of years, then you can have placeholders that after 1 year, this is where I hope to be. This is what my objective is. One of the earlier speakers had said, break down the 10 years into 5 years, into 2 years, into 1 year, and weekly and monthly. Now you can do that for a business. It could be a 200 crore business. It could be a 2,000 crore business. It doesn't matter. That's how we think wealth management should be done. Is 1, set a goal for the family. Have a well thought out plan to achieve that goal. Implement it and monitor it. Right? So that then becomes based on a goal. Now that's how we think wealth management, and that's the framework you should be thinking about. So what are the goals every family should have or should think of having? Right? Beat inflation. Wealth by itself has no meaning. Wealth is only there to meet a particular need you might have for your family in the future. Right? 3, 5, 10 years in the future. Money by itself has no meaning. It can only mean something if it can buy you something 3, 5 years in the future. Right? And hence, it's important if not critical, and I'm using the word important if not critical, that the money that you have maintains the purchasing power over a period of time. Otherwise, it has no meaning. Right? Now, the people in this room are all subject to what is called inflation. The government of India comes out with a data called CPI, Consumer Price Inflation, right? Now, if you see, consumer price inflation calculated by the government of India over long periods of time is 6-7%. But if you open up what the consumer price inflation looks like, what are the what comprises it? Is it a reflection of your spending habits? Unlikely. It assumes 51% of your monthly expenses on dal chawal roti, on food and beverages. Now that might apply to your driver, to the maid servant who comes to the house, but certainly doesn't apply to you. So we're not saying it's wrong, it's irrelevant. Right? And hence, if your basket of investments is to make sure you beat CPI over a period of time and not relevant to what will the actual expenses you're going to be spending on, then at the end of 5-10 years, you will most probably realize I've not got close to where I want to be. Right? So like I said, the government assumes you're spending so much money on food and beverages. What do HNI spend on? Now, unfortunately, there is no HNI inflation index because 99% of the India will be okay with CPI, but the people in my room, in this room, and the people who are my clients, that's not relevant. So what do HNI spend on? Education for children to go abroad, education in India, right? Medical, marriages, entertainment, holidays, club memberships. Case in point, most of our clients want to send their kid abroad to study, right? At least for the 4-year undergrad. if not want, at least aspire to send their children. Right? A 4-year undergrad school cost, just the tuition cost of 4 years in an Ivy League school today will cost you between 1.8 to 2.2 crores today. This is just tuition. Now that has inflated over the last 25 years at 13% per annum because the dollar cost goes up every year and the rupee depreciates. You combine these two and the cost will be compounding at 11, 12, 13% depending on which school you looked at. Okay, 1 minute. Oh, I thought I had longer time than that. Okay. Oh, 3 minutes. Okay, super. So one is you have to create a portfolio which will beat inflation which is relevant to you. Right? In our view, inflation which is relevant to the people in this room is 11 to 12%. It's certainly not 6-7%. And hence, if your wealth, and I'm defining wealth, not your portfolio, your wealth is all the assets you own, minus your primary residence and what you're using for personal. Right? It's just not what is there in your mutual fund, what is in equities, what is in fixed income. It includes real estate. It includes your PF, your PPF, your insurance policies, everything. Is that balance sheet growing at 11-12% just to maintain the purchasing power? If it's not, rest assured, after 5-10 years, it will not be there to be able to do this thing, right? That's one. Second thing is, there is something called aspirational inflation. Everyone wants to improve their lifestyle 3-5 years out. Give you an example. Anshika, my daughter, when she passed her 10th, got very good marks. The deal I had with Anshika, you do well, we'll get you a good phone. Now, I only said, do well. I didn't say how well. I didn't define the parameters of the deal, right? So she picked, I said, okay, so she got 96%. She picked up the most expensive iPhone in the country at that point of time, right? I mean, it was 75,000 rupees. I was using 20,000 rupee phone, and I'm telling her, why do you need a 70,000? But deal is a deal, right? My wife says, you're buying her, you're buying me. So I was out 1.4 lakhs in 30 seconds flat. The point is not that I can't afford 1.4. The point is I never thought I'll be spending 70,000 rupees on a phone. That, ladies and gentlemen, is aspirational inflation. All of us, let's see, all of us are going to be impacted by that. We want better lifestyles. Nothing wrong in that. But if you are wanting that, please, God's sake, plan for it. Right? So one is inflation. Sorry, just go back. This data just shows, and I'm sorry I can't see the numbers off the cuff, that if I had a portfolio where I put in money at 7% and I let it compound for a 30-year time horizon, right? This is where it will reach. Where I want it to reach is substantially higher. So you took no risk by putting in money in a tax-free bond, but you've destroyed 70% of your purchasing power, right? So when we think about, I don't want risk, please define risk, right? That's point number 2. Now, the other is, what are the other goals? How do you protect your wealth, right? Each of you who are in businesses carry risks, sometimes which you are aware about, and sometimes risks which you may not be aware about. Simple case in point, right? Most of you, if you've taken a loan from the company you own has taken a loan from a bank, you've given, in all probably given a personal guaranteed, right? Because that's how it's required. God forbid, because of a business reason, genuine business reason, the loan were to go bad. Not because you did a fraud, but it's genuine. Now, all of a sudden, the bank has the right to be able to take your assets, which are in your name, because you've given a personal guarantee. Is that a risk you want to carry? Is there a way of mitigating that risk? Right? And there are various things I've listed out, so I can't read out all of that. But I'm just saying you have to be able to think about protecting of your wealth. Then one is transmission. How do you transmit the wealth from one generation to another? Right? When I meet most clients and ask them, sir, do you have an inventory of all your assets written down on a piece of paper? Believe you me, 90% will not have it in place. The 10% who do have it in place, well, if I ask them the next logical question, So do you have all the inventory of your assets with the right nominations, joint holdings? God forbid if something were to happen to you today, it goes to the person you want it to go to. Right? The third thing you should think about, transmission. Have an inventory of your assets, have the nominations in place, and for God's sake, have a will. I can't make you believe how critical it is. There is 32,500 crores of money lying in various bank accounts, LICs, mutual fund, PF, which no one knows who it belongs to because the guy who's put it there, he's either died or has forgotten about it. It's ridiculous. 32,500 crores, that's not a small amount of money. Right? It could have paid back Mr. Nirav Modi's loan 4 times back. Sorry, the only point I'm trying to make is that the 3 important goals which we think as wealth managers, which every family should have, growth of portfolio at least 12%, and portfolio I mean wealth, not just portfolio, protection and transmission. Okay, so I'm going to end it in 2 more minutes. Whenever we make any investment decision, right, we think you're making one decision. No, you're doing 3 separate decisions coming to one decision. Let's say I had 1 crore to invest today. I have broadly 4 choices. I can invest in real estate, equities, fixed income, or gold, precious metal. These are what is called asset classes, right? The 4. So I decide to buy 1 crore of real estate. Decision number 1, 100% going to real estate. Decision number 2, where am I buying that 1 crore? In Chembur, in Powai, or Andheri? Because I will compare various property. This is for investment purpose. That is choosing between property A and property B. It's something called security selection. It's like choosing between Infosys and a TCS, between an Apple and a HP. Right? Third is market timing. Do I buy today? Do I wait for 6 months, then buy it? Now the combination of all these 3 is one decision. The research was done in the US which said which of these has the maximum impact over long periods of time. And this was done on pension funds. More than 90% of the return differential is a function of your asset allocation, which means out of 100 rupees, what percentage has gone to the right asset class? Within that asset class, what you bought is not so important. Right? Now, the next slide, and I'm going to just interact with everyone here. We looked at, this is research done in the US, is it relevant to India? So we went back to 1990. Why 1990? Because 1991 was Manmohan Singh opened up the economy. And said, if I had 1 crore at that point of time, and had put it in these 4 asset classes, what will be the value today, right? So 1 crore in a bank FD, I haven't pulled the money out for 27, 28 years, have compounded and haven't paid taxes, is about 9-10 crores. 1 crore in gold is about 11-12 crores. 1 crore in a Malabar Hill property is 21 crores. 1 crore in the Sensex, assuming that is a representative of equities, is 44-48 crores. Now, I'm going to ask you, and I want answers. Instead of Sensex, because that wasn't available as an investment instrument, but if I bought one of the equity mutual funds and I had 4 mutual funds, right? Can someone take a guess, given that Sensex is 44 to 48 crores, can someone take a guess, what is the value of the worst performing fund today and the best performing fund today? Guesses, Sensex is 44 to 48 crores. So you have a benchmark. 75. Worst, best, sir. Best.
Best is 200 crores.
Best is 200 crores. Yes. Anyone else?
450 crores.
That's a bull,
The worst performing fund is 316 crores.
My goodness.
The worst performing fund is, and the best performing 474. Ooh. Did it make a difference which fund you are in? No.
Because we all invest in the same companies.
Not really, sir. That's not the point. The point I'm trying to make, the point I'm just trying to make is, sorry.
Yeah, come, sir.
Yeah, it's easier because I want to see, right? So the point I'm trying to make is the power of compounding, which is so-called the eighth wonder of the world, kicks in over a period of time. Now, unfortunately or fortunately, most of my clients, or most Indians, my clients is wrong, they say, have 40, 50, 60% in real estate. Right? It's done well during times and all that, but three things with real estate. It's undivisible. I can't sell the bloody bathroom. Right? I have to sell the house. It's immobile, I can't carry it with me. It's illiquid, I can't get the money when I want. Right? Whereas in a financial instrument, out of this 300 crores, all of the 474, I want 10 crores, I can take it out. Put in the redemption on Monday, Thursday morning, money in your bank account, no questions asked. Point one. Point two, the power of compounding. And I beg of you, a 2-3% difference compounded over a long period of time can have such a ridiculous amount of wealth creation. Right? So the difference between 11, 12% and 15% is 2 to 3% per annum, but look at the value difference. If you see, the difference between 15 and this is about 7 to 8%, but compounded over 27 years. Okay? So there's a scientist in the US called Albert Bartlett, and he said something very distinct. The biggest handicap of the human mind is inability to understand the exponential function. Right? He was talking in the context of human population growth, not about this, but the exponential function, nothing but the power of compounding over a period of time, right? So to wrap up, the way you should be thinking about managing your wealth, have a goal, put a process in place. The goals should be, in our view, growth at 12% and above, protection, and transmission. Yeah, there's a video. Okay, so there's a small 2-minute video which we have our MD Amit Rathi talking about it, and then we'll just conclude. Maybe we could send a link of this.
Yeah, I think so.
It's only a 2-minute video, so we're able to send a link of this.
Fearless advice delivered with humility. At Anand Rathi, we strongly believe out of the 10 product categories which can fit into one's portfolio, there are only 2 of them which are relevant. Our advice is always backed by data. All our recommendations come with simple to understand numbers that help create the conviction for you to act.
Economic events such as growth, inflation, foreign exchange rate, all these things impact our client's portfolio. But the problem with economists is that they use such complex expression, so many jargons, that at the end of the day, the client is totally lost. If I understand economics, I should be able to express it so simply that even my granny will understand.
No unnecessary jargon to impress you. From strategy to execution to reporting, our advice is uncomplicated.
Transparency is best expressed in mathematics, which is not window dressed. And therefore, if you have a simple client statement which is absolutely crystal clear, then you are communicating to the client that I am transparent. Transparency is not only a mechanism by which you will buy client loyalty, but it is a mechanism which will help you introspect and become better.
At Anand Rathi, we've brought together some of the best brains in wealth management and cutting-edge technology. I believe it pays to be long-term greedy. There are no shortcuts. If you believe what I believe, then what are we waiting for?
If I do very quickly, can you go slide? Oh, yeah, please. Thank you. Yes, fearless advisory. If you are hiring us or anyone as your advisor, right? Please be prepared to listen to advice. I beg of you. Right? So at Anand Rathi, we will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Right? But we do it with humility and always backed by data. I think Narayan Murthy once said, in God I believe, in everything else show me data. Everything that we advise on clients, everything, I'm repeating this, right? It is backed by data. Our overall approach is uncomplicated. What did I say was complicated? Beat inflation, protect your assets. No, there's nothing complicated. I think the last one is most important. Transparencies. You should know how much we are earning, right? You have the right and I have the obligation. I'm using the words very clearly. You have the right and I have the obligation to tell you how much I'm earning, point one. But more importantly, if the advice I'm giving you is good for you, it has to be good for me. You have the right again to ask, Amitabh, show me your portfolio. Show me your CEO's portfolio. Where are they investing? Are you investing where we are investing? Do I have skin in the game? Right? Am I giving you advice and doing something else? If that is the case, then I'm not being honest. I'm not being ethical. Right? So all our advisors, me, CEO, Rakesh, Amit, Firoz, all of us, if you ask, I'll happy to show you the portfolios. And the components that they will have will be very similar to what you have. The percentages might vary, obviously. No? Someone has a higher risk profile, I have a lower risk profile. But the components are the same. Right? So with this, I'd like to conclude. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Amitabh. Certainly you made us feel rich. We'll have you for much more time, which you will utilize it to make us rich per se. So thank you very much again.
अगर आपको हमारा ये वीडियो पसंद आया तो लाइक, कमेंट और शेयर करो। अगर आप चैनल पे नए हो तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब जरूर करो और बाजू में दिया हुआ बेल आइकॉन को जरूर दबाओ ताकि हमारे आने वाले नए वीडियो का नोटिफिकेशन आपको सबसे पहले मिले।